with the beard and everything, you look very very heavenly. You look like Jesus if he, after the supper,
Yeah, the antichrist. Oh, after this, that was a fat joke. I got it.
No, no, but I like your joke was better. That's why you're the comedian and I'm not. Hey everybody, welcome to Top Fives with Don Sill. I'm your host, Don Sill, and we got another great episode in store for you today. This is the top 5 greatest comedy specials of all time. This is going to be great. So think about it. There's been about 50 years worth of comedy specials that have been on TV, so there's a lot to choose from. Wasn't easy pickings. Joining me today is the hilarious comedian and YouTuber, Neil Rubenstein. This guy's awesome.
So as soon as I got off the plane, I had an entire bag of gummy worms. And then I bought some edibles. So I'm diabetic and I needed to level my blood sugar.
Also, everybody, please remember to subscribe below, like, and comment. And we want to hear what you have to say. So without further ado, here we go. Me and Neil Rubenstein talking about the top 5 greatest stand-up comedy specials of all time. So this is the top 5. How it's going to work is basically we both have our top 5s, and in this case is our top 5 greatest stand-up comedy specials ever in history, which doesn't go that far back if you think about it. So I think the stand-up specials started in like the 80s or so with HBO, with like George Carlin and stuff like that.
So what year is Pryor's opening for Aretha Franklin and filming it?
Yeah, I think that was also possibly early 80s. You're talking like
early 80s?
Yeah, like Live at the Sunset Strip. And those were in the movie theaters, and those do count on this too. So we're looking at anything televised, movies or specials from back then all the way till now. So basically
they would do TV shows, but it would be like a Bob Hope hour, but it would be like a bunch of other stuff.
Thank you. Don't stop. I've been 4 months without this kind of therapy.
Yeah, right. So it's not like a true special, but yeah, Bob Hope for sure was doing this since the beginning of time. And you could even say, if you really wanted to argue, like Milton Berle.
I'll take this country anytime. American television is the only place in the world where you can find at least 50 shows in the top 10.
Did similar stuff, and so did Sid Caesar.
It's not going to hurt at all now. It's not going in. Just say to yourself that it is not going. Didn't I tell you to leave out the cherry?
And how do you feel about the direction it's going? Like, I feel like the hour is done. Like, not that it's done, because there's still going to be the people that do the hour, but it doesn't feel like it's a goal anymore.
It doesn't feel like a goal. I feel now the goal is just to get on these half-hour specials to do some of these things like Netflix has been doing. And I also think too that a lot of these guys that because like Netflix is these days, you got the Netflix and Hulu's and Crackles and all these. I feel like they're just pushing them out. Like just every comedian gets a special, and I don't think everyone's ready for a full hour.
Yeah, it's been a weird week with the haircut, my papa being here. And then probably the weirdest thing that happened to me is I watched one of my idol sex tape. I watched Hulk Hogan sex tape.
It's similar to the 80s boom, where there was so much televised comedy that it was saturated the market and people lost interest in stand-up. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen with these specials. But to your point, I do agree an hour might be too long.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know what I'm aiming for. You know what I mean? Like for a while it was like, oh, I hope I would love to like do an hour, record an album. And now I'm like, I have an EP out. That's enough. I could do like another EP maybe. Like a dry bar special would be nice. It's like 20 minutes. That seems to have a good audience. And then like even like late night talk shows, it's like I overheard. So this story was related to me. It was told to me after the fact, but someone on the subway overheard 2 young women talking, and one of them said, I slept with a comedian last night. And the girl goes, "Oh, is it someone I would know?" And she says, "He was on Fallon recently." And the other girl was like, "Who even watches that anymore?"
I'm horrified, and I'm sorry, and I'm embarrassed.
Late night shows lost their luster. They lost their impact. Back in the day, Johnny Carson, one appearance on Johnny Carson could change a comedian's life.
Yeah.
Now, you know, it's like a fart in the wind almost. I think you get more on a podcast, you know.
On a good one. Yeah.
Like if you're on Joe Rogan.
My grandfather made her keep the monkey in the attic. Yo, my grandma was crazy.
But I mean, all right, that's Rogan. You know what I mean? That's like Oprah. You know what I mean? Like that's like Johnny Carson back in the day, right?
Right, yeah.
But like, I feel like with all those late night talk shows, like now that they're like recording, you know, via Zoom and like it's like there isn't even a mystique of it being more valuable than the other. Like it's literally just if you can find an audience wherever you can find that audience.
Exactly. And that's why I think a lot of these cables and streaming services and have to start rethinking how they do it and how they brand and how they you know, release stand-up specials, because you know, I think now another good thing about today's day and age is that we need comedy now more than ever. I think it's our only saving grace to a lot of failings that's going on in our culture. Regardless of what side of the coin you're on, we could all agree that we have a lot of problems. And I think that we need the comedians now more than ever to speak out and put a mirror up to society, because that's what I think, since the court jester, that's what comedy has always done.
I feel like now that, so Trump was so polarizing that everyone was like, oh, it's us and them. Like it was two sides.
Right.
But now that he's out of office, I feel like we can get back to the focus of like, no, it's government versus us. Like they're the ruling class, they're elite and wealthy, and they hate anyone who isn't wealthy, and they want us all in prison and broke, and that's why they nickel and dime us with all the little things. And I feel like now we can like start to focus on that again, instead of being like, you know, instead of like, we're the red team and we're the blue team. Like now it's like, oh no, I'm just for the people, and you're oh, it's like a hand comes in behind.
This is awesome.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like I can speak to both sides now again. Whereas for a while, I feel like people would dismiss conversation and be like, oh, it's a liberal. You know what I mean? Whereas now I feel like I can be like, oh, I'm not a liberal at all. Like I hate any politician. Like
right.
I hate all the politicians. Like stop.
I wonder just what you make of this very last minute scramble of what we thought was going to proceed here with this relief bill.
Yeah, hey Rachel, thanks for having me on. I just don't understand why we're not printing more money. Like we have a printing plant, right, that prints money. Just run the machines a couple of extra hours each night, you know, and that'll create some jobs too, because there'll be extra hours to work at the printing place.
Back to the specials now.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. No, that's cool. I always enjoy your take on things, man.
My dissidence.
So the comedy specials through the years, like you said, I don't know which the first recorded, like televised or movie was. It may be Richard Pryor. I'd have to do a little Google search on that one, but I think it might be Richard Pryor.
Just to be a nigga stand up here and just be saying nothing. Ain't shit. But I hope my shit is funny.
So basically, this is the top 5 comedy stand-up specials of all time. Neil, we'll let you go first. So basically, we're going to go. You'll throw out your picks, and then we'll talk about them, and then I'll put out my pick, and then we'll keep going until we agree on a solid 5.
So yeah, I list all mine first, and then
just one at a time. Yeah, one for one. And if we agree on it, we both had it on our list, then it definitely makes it on.
All right, but here's the thing that I did though. I didn't include the obvious guys.
I like that.
I just felt like, you know, top 5 could easily be 2 Louis, a Burr, a Chappelle, and a Brian Regan. Easy, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, let me leave those guys. You know what I mean? Like, let me leave those guys out. I almost didn't want to include Nate Bargatze because it's like, at this point, it's like, oh, obviously Nate Bargatze.
Yeah, Nate Bargatze's awesome. So
I included Nate. I went with Full Time Magic, which I think was his Comedy Central. I think it was Comedy Central.
Nate Bargatze is hilarious, and he's kind of on the rise. Even though he's been around for a long time, he's kind of like becoming an overnight sensation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's starting to become household, but he like popped a few years ago. Like he's pretty big.
Like if I could go back in time, tonight and go back to like the 20s, knowing everything I know right now, I don't think I would make a difference.
Kind of a comedian's comedian too. Comedians
Sure.
definitely respect him. He's based out of Tennessee, right?
Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. He was in New York. Well, he did something really smart. He spent like 4 or 5 years in Chicago, and then 4 or 5 years in New York, and then went back to Nashville. Like he really, he did the thing.
I don't have a gun to protect us. I have a pocket knife. That's what I have next to the bed. Like that could do nothing. I could hope to aggravate him at best, you know?
He's got a unique style too. It's not your average stand-up style, I would say. It's more conversational. It's kind of reminds me of Jake Johansson a little bit.
I have a wife and a daughter, and that's my family. It's my family. You know, it feels different from that family that you're born into, right? Those people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just kind of that he's like, it feels like he's talking in real time, like it's just all coming off the dome.
Yeah, so I would say Nate, and then like I kind of felt like he's on the borderline of being up there with like, you know, the Brian Regan special with the big yellow one's the sun, you know.
Yeah.
And the Louis one with, of course, but maybe.
Yeah, that's
that
classic.
Louis one.
Yeah.
The Bill Burr one with what are some of the things you say about us? Smell like wet dog. We got lice.
I like that when Burr's like on the train, telling the story of the train, and the guy's white motherfucker. He's like, at what point should someone step in and stop this?
Is that the same one with and then she like teaches the kid to dance? And it's like, I just want. And the teacher's got the busted up glasses. Like, you can't teach these people anything. So I left all those out.
Yeah.
So I left all those out because it's like, it's obviously those are the you know.
Yeah,
they're
those
these
are
people for a reason.
Excellent. So Nate Bargatze.
I'm like on the fence with leaving them out. So I have 5 others.
Very good. There you go.
So maybe we'll go the top, the 6 through 10 best.
Yeah, we just keep throwing them out until we agree. So yeah, because there's so many specials. You're talking at least from the 1970s and 80s through now. So you're looking at like 50 years worth of comedy specials and great comedians. So there's a lot to pick from. I kind of going back in song. Let me write this down. Nate Bargatze, just so I remember when we go over this. So my first pick is one that kind of changed me as an adolescent, and I was a diehard thinker. It didn't stand the test of time really, just because of the temperature of the culture today that would never hold up. But this one is The Dice Man Cometh, Andrew Dice Clay. This was one of the first bona fide rock star comedians we've ever seen. He had a following. He was also one of the few comedy acts where people wanted to see the rehash material. It was almost like going to a concert where you want to hear your favorite song, you know, so you'd want to hear the rhymes.
Well, Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating a curds and whey. Long came a Spidey, sat down beside, he said, hey, what's in the bowl, bitch? Oh!
There are rumors that he stole a lot of his material for this special from, you know, Otto and George, and some from, I think Bob Nelson he took the material from. But when I was a kid, when I'm a 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid watching this, you know, I think me and all my friends was kind of trying to smoke cigarettes like this. And I just think it was one of those comedy specials that impacted a generation. And that's why I got it on there. What's your thoughts on?
Well, one, you're talking about like bona fide rock star comedians. And immediately Sam Kinison came to mind.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he was that, like he was like living the rock star lifestyle, and people were like, because when I was young, like he was like a big thing, and it was like, this is this like oh, I want to be like that, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think Kinison definitely lived the rock star lifestyle more, but I think when you look at specials, I think Kinison was great with his Rodney Dangerfield appearance was classic. That 10 minutes, 15 minutes of material was legendary. But I don't think, I love Sam Kinison, I'm not putting a slam, but I don't think his specials hold up. I don't, like you talked about having an hour, I don't think he had an hour.
Why yelling?
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, I'm in hell!
Have you seen Woke Dice Clay?
I have not seen Woke Dice yet.
So you know Mark Norman does Stick or Treat every year, or it had been doing.
Yeah.
Stick or Treat. This young, newer comedian from Manhattan. I think his name is Michael Salgarolo. He did. You can look it up online. I encourage everybody to look it up. I will not be doing it justice, but he did Woke Andrew Dice Clay, and it was like hickory dickory dock, Bruce Jenner cut off his cock, but gender is fluid, so if he wants to do it, who am I to tell him to stop? Yo.
Mary, quite contrary, should get paid the same as Larry. Oh!
That's great. That's genius.
Yeah, and he had like 5 or 6 of them.
That's great, man. Woke Dice, man. We gotta check that out. And I love seeing Dice that he kind of hit a dip in his career for a while, and now he resurged back again with his show, and he's kind of still being the same Dice, but in today's culture,
it's all changed because now we live in the inappropriate age. You know, everything's like not nice. You know what I mean?
And it's almost like Archie Bunker kind of thing when you see him kind of interact. So I think he reinvented himself in a good way, and he also, and recovered his career. So that's
people
my
seem
pick.
to love him too, just like a beloved individual.
So back to you.
I want to name so many. All right, I'm just gonna go. This is my favorite. Just to make sure that I get it out there. This is my absolute favorite number 1, the best special of all time. Even with Louis and all that, compare it to anybody. Sarah Silverman's Speck of Dust.
Yes, Sarah Silverman.
That is number 1, top of the mountain. she's one of the best comedians and a phenomenal writer. And at her peak, that was a phenomenal. It was just unbelievable.
I find that the truth gets in the way, I guess. Like, my God, your cock is so... Oh, no, it was a shadow.
What's great about her is she's definitely a seasoned stand-up, but she's a true stand-up, and she's smart, and she could be vulgar. And when you can combine those two, and you're gonna get nothing but hilarity, because I think she's kind of similar to Carlin in that way, is where she could tell, dick jokes and fart jokes and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, the next minute, she's talking about, social issues and putting a mirror to our society and really kind of showcasing that side as well. And, there's a lot of comedians that can do it, but only a few that can really do it effectively.
Yeah. I'm a clean comic. I don't curse really once in a blue moon, and rarely. I won't talk about like sexual stuff really. And she still does it for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just that stuff. Like, it's so. And especially on Speck of Dust, I mean, when she does do vulgar, it's like she does it in such a like innocent-ish way. Like, she's so coy about it that even when she's vulgar, it's like, oh.
For post-coital cuddling, or after sex cuddling, if you're stupid, what is the etiquette for where I would put his asshole fingers?
Yeah,
that was the most wholesome cum joke I've ever heard.
And I think, though, she also inspired a legion of other empowered female comedians to do that. I think like Amy Schumer kind of took the ball and ran with it. But you look at a Michelle Wolf, and she's got a lot more of that kind of socially aware, woke comedy that goes a little bit deeper than even Sarah Silverman's kind of socially aware type comedy.
I feel like Michelle Wolf's focusing on that audience. Sarah Silverman's trying to talk to everybody, so she's not, not gonna alienate if she doesn't have to.
That's a great way to put it. Perfect. Cool. So we got Sarah Silverman's Speck of Dust on the list. I'm still sticking to classics. I didn't completely throw them away. I'm gonna go with this guy here. To me, this album was also very impressionable on a lot of people, and it was universally loved, and that was Bill Cosby himself. To me, that special, you talk about clean comedy, and but that special showed us that whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever you are, we all have families, and the family dynamics is what he really keyed in on there with that special. And I think that, I think it still holds up today. If you take away who Bill Cosby is now, and you take it at face value for the material.
Well, if you take away who he was then.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That is great. Give us a chocolate cake.
And but it still holds up. I don't think, a lot of people try to avoid these kind of canceled comedians, whether they're rightfully or not. But in this case, I think it's, Bill Cosby deserves to be where he is. I think, it's wrong what he did, but himself, that as a comedy
still exists. I'm sure, Monet wasn't not,
yeah, or even Picasso. A lot's come out about Picasso lately. It's funny. The guy's, been gone. He died in the 60s. He's been dead for like 50 something years, and now people are still trying to cancel him. So it's just weird.
Who's the guy with the Van Gogh? This guy's gonna cut his ear off for a girl. You don't think he's done some other questionable shit?
Who knows what the hell else that guy did?
Yeah. I'm sure he stalked a girl or two. I'm sure.
yeah.
At the very least, we would call it harassment. At the very least. So let's remember we're separating art for some people. We can separate art.
Yes, indeed.
I'm not gonna buy the album. I'm not gonna give money to the estate, but those jokes were written and they were funny, and I apologize to his victim.
Where were you like when Himself came out? What year did Himself come out in?
That'd be like early '80s now.
Yeah, I think like mid '80s perhaps. I feel like I was still in high school when that came out.
I was real young. I remember it was like comedy I was allowed to watch because, my parents were pretty like I watched Eddie Murphy's specials. I didn't understand them. But yeah, I remember watching it. I remember my parents being like, fans of it. It didn't do anything for me personally, just because I think I was just too young to like really for it to resonate. But
right. Yeah, Cosby Show came out a couple of years later. Cosby Show was created off of the heels of that Himself. So that comedy special kind of launched that TV show because that was that era when comedians, their material was creating sitcoms like Everyone Loves Raymond, Roseanne, Tim Toolman, all that stuff. But here's where we are right now with our top 5. Here's all of our guys. Now, again, this isn't the full 5. We're going to keep throwing them out and then mix and match however we want. But right now we have Nate Bargatze, Full-Time Magic, right? That was the one?
Sure.
Then we got
Pick one, any of them.
Dice Clay, The Dice Man Cometh, Sarah Silverman, Speck of Dust, Bill Cosby himself. So now you're up to bat here. What do you got?
Michael Che.
Nice. Michael Che.
He's like, we're not looking for equal rights. We're not even looking for civil rights. We just want you to know that we matter.
I think that's what it's called. Matters. Michael Che
Oh,
Matters.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Why do black people always have to get over shit so quickly? Thanks, black lady.
Dude, that is so funny to me. That whole special is so good, and he's like, we're not asking equal. We're not looking for civil rights. Brutal.
I don't understand why white people can't just accept the fact that there's just some shit you can't say. As a black guy, I know there's shit that I can't say, like screwed the pooch.
Michael Che's writing is, as a comedy writer, he's just insane. He's very gifted. That's a great one. He's a great guy, especially for I think he's a New York dude, and for today, for today's world, he's perfect because I feel like he's definitely in tune with a lot of the stuff, but also can call it out on both sides.
And calls it out when it's wrong. Yeah, calls it out. Yeah.
Say what you will about Hitler. Maybe you got some real spooky gay guys in your neighborhood that I don't know about. Cops are getting shot. Gorillas are getting shot. Fuck that gorilla. Gun rights are in the Constitution. Or as I call it, the list of white guy perks.
And also, like, has fun with it. Like, and also does a lot for the community. Like, early in the pandemic, he was doing outdoor shows in Astoria and stuff. Like, he was really leading the charge and getting comedy back going, and like kind of inspired all those like drive-in shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, on SNL, he'll do the thing where like him and Jost write each other's jokes.
Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans.
Fine, I'll wear a condom.
Yeah,
Like,
that's great. That's
I don't know how much reality is involved in that, but just like making Joe say like the most racist stuff is just so funny to me.
A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip hop. Why?
All right. My next one, again, I feel like I went to the past a lot more than and you kind of, which is a good balance, and you kind of stayed in the present. I think it gives a good balance to what we're doing here.
I kind of lean towards, I mean, the next couple ones are like super new, but I lean toward like when I felt like I was coming into my own as a writer.
Right. Yeah.
These were the ones that I was like really studying and really like, how are they doing? You know, because like, because Carlin and all that stuff, it's like, as great as it was, like, I can't learn. I couldn't learn from that at the time. Like, I could go back and learn from it, but at the time I couldn't learn from it. And then even with like Louis and Bill Burr, it's like these guys have their voice, their point of view is so crisp, and they're doing these epic pieces where it's like I can't get up at an open mic in Manhattan for 3 minutes and work on this kind of a thing. Like, this is an advanced metric.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas like Che and the Sarah Silverman special and the Neighbor Gats and the other stuff I'm going to get into in a minute, like, they're still telling jokes, and I can learn formula, and I can learn, I don't know, it's because like obviously I want to write like Rodney or Henny Youngman, but I can't, you know, that's a blueprint, that's from a past life. That's not, you know, I can't apply that today. I'm going to sound like a goof. I'm going to sound like a goofball.
Well, I must have looked like an idiot up here.
Is it your turn or mine now for the next? I forget. I think you said Michael Che. Yeah, so it's I think it's me, and I am going to go again. Like I was saying, I keep going to the well for the classics, to me, in my opinion. And this one is Steve Martin, Wild and Crazy Guy. And because I think Steve Martin is also a genius, but I also think too he was one of the first ones to sell out arenas before Dice. He also was the first one to take his whole audience out to Milk and Cookies and all that before Andy Kaufman. So, but he also kind of was silly and goofy, and showed that you could do comedy without real substance and just being silly.
Whoa, give me that, give me that, give me that!
And that also resonated with me as a kid, that you could have the two. You could have, you know, kind of a socially aware comedy like Carlin or even Pryor, but also have this on the other side of this thing. You have your Gallaghers and your, you know, your Steve Martins.
And also hung it up when it stopped being fun.
Yep.
Which is like a super respectable.
And he says he'll never go back. Yeah.
You know, what would it be now? I lost a little bit of interest in him. He did like a you know those master classes?
Yeah.
Hi, quiet. I'm Steve Martin, and welcome to Masterclass.
He did a master class. You take it. Like, I want to hear what Steve Martin. You know what I mean? Like, I've been listening to jerk offs try and teach me comedy for 15 years. Why not listen to what Steve Martin's got to say?
Yeah.
And then all jerk offs. Some are very good teachers. There's also some jerk offs. You know who they are. He in that masterclass, he's like explaining how to get big, the way he got big, and it's like, yeah, dude, like that doesn't exist. You get discovered at the carnival, bro.
Yeah, he got discovered in California. That it wasn't even Disney. It was the other one.
He's doing magic at Adventureland. He's gonna get like, oh yeah, I should just go do class of magic at Adventureland. Like, oh, how does it? Oh, it's alright. Oh, just sign here. Cool.
The napkin trick.
Yeah. He had a very unique way of how he got there. He was magic and the banjo and all these things, and he knew how to juggle.
One-man variety show.
Yeah, and his passion.
Do what I do. Like, yeah, dude, just do what you do.
But I think too that
thanks, Steve.
But that album sparked and influenced a lot of comedians that followed. I think even like guys like Howie Mandel, you can kind of see that.
This is my handbag, and then I got my alligator shirt on and everything.
In him and
a lot of early '80s silliness. Yeah.
Yeah. You know. All right, so now
Judy
Tenuta. Whatever happened to Judy Tenuta?
How many of you ever started dating someone because you were too lazy to commit suicide? Yeah.
All right, so we're getting down to the nitty. This would be your fourth pick right now.
Andrew Shultz, 551.
Andrew Shultz, genius. He is on the rise, if not already. I think in the comedy world, he's already one of the top dogs. But I think now he's starting to cross into mainstream. Hilarious,
He has
dude.
risen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I go in the Apple store, I swear to God, I wish 40 Mexicans would just raid that bitch. The Genius Bar is ours. Just nerds crying. What do you Mexicans know about selling Macs? If we can sell oranges, we can sell apples.
I think that 551 is a blueprint, both business and comedic. Just such a smart guy, such a smart thing to do. So for whoever's watching, he did 5 sets in one night, recorded them all, put it up on YouTube himself, made the money. And just, like Netflix didn't want him. So he just made his own money. He hit 2 million views. Netflix was like, oh, we want you now. And he was like,
pay me.
Pay. He made them pay through their teeth and, did the damn thing.
I jerk off like a serial killer.
Shultz is one of those comedians that's all around. He's a writer, he's smart, and he
Great
can
writer.
play the crowd like nobody else, man.
Yep. Good crowd work, great writer. His bits are very funny and socially aware for the most part.
And he's one that teeters on both sides. He doesn't focus on.
He don't placate to anybody. Yeah.
That's what I like about him too, is because he's not like like a lot of these SNL and stuff like that. They only gear towards one side, where even late night hosts are only geared. But a guy like Shultz and a lot of other comedians are now doing the gambit. They're just calling it out as they see it, which is what I believe comedians need to do more of.
Yeah,
Call bullshit on both sides, man.
Yeah.
You want to know some fucked up shit though? Are there pyramids in Mexico? Yeah. Beautiful pyramids, right? gorgeous pyramids in Mexico. Nobody questions who built those.
Great pick, great pick. And again, me going to the well. I really do think this is a good balance of old and new here. Mine is where is it? George Carlin again. So George Carlin again. The reason I picked this.
Is that the one from the Tombstones?
No, this was the one where he's
that.
wearing like the blue shirt. This is where he does this on TV. Is where he does the 7 Dirty Words again.
Oh yeah.
It was his second special he released on HBO. It was like came out like I don't know, the early '80s or something. Let's see if it says it on here. Came out in '78, and I was a young kid when my father allowed me to watch this, even though my mother told him that I shouldn't. I've never been the same since.
Was the word in the original Old English, as best I can find, fuck only meant to hit, to smite, to perhaps hit with a stick, to fuck the tree, to fuck the rock, to fuck thee. That's all. And pretty soon, that's all.
I fell in love with stand-up comedy, fell in love with George Carlin, and everything from his delivery to what he was saying, to the faces he made, his cadence, everything about Carlin. And you talk about joke writing, and here's a guy who could be socially aware, and he says it in a way where you understand the hypocrisy of the world, like with words.
We put the aggression back into the word. Fuck you! Fuck you, you fuck! Fuck you, you fuck! Who the fuck do you think you're fucking with? Some kind of a fuckhead? Fuck you! Who the fuck do you think you're fucking with? Me? Don't fuck with me, I'll fuck over you. You fuck with me and you'll get fucked.
There's more words to describe dirty words than there are dirty words. Everything he does and talks about in that is great. He can goes from fart jokes to political jokes, one almost seamlessly, and you don't even feel any bumps. To me, again, I can't go on enough about George Carlin. He's by far my favorite comedian, and he inspired a whole genre, maybe. I mean, I know it was Lenny Bruce and then Carlin, but Carlin really set it off.
I have trouble accepting the idea that like someone in 2020 is influenced by Lenny Bruce. You know what I mean? It's just like, what? Like that, it took so much for that stuff to even get to you. Like, if it wasn't for, I understand if it wasn't for Lenny Bruce, there is no Carlin. But if there was no Carlin, we're not still talking about Lenny Bruce.
Right. Yeah.
We're not. That's
a great point.
He would have been buried.
Like, nobody's talking about Mort Saul anymore, and Mort Saul inspired Lenny Bruce.
As you know, the big news is the inaugural, and President Johnson, who was listed here as the first president to put the country in his wife's name. Anyway, that's what it says. So I only report what I read.
I think now it's the newer versions of those guys now. Like I think Andrew Shultz is a good example of that. He kind of derives off of that lineage of Carlin, Hicks, Stanhope, and then let's just say, and then Shultz, because Shultz definitely is socially aware. He's got a lot of Carlinisms in him. He's got a lot of Carlin style.
I'll take that. I think he also does like he's not quite. Carlin's such a master of language.
There's no now. There's no now. Everything is the near future or the recent past. But there's no present. Welcome to the present.
I think there's some that try. Yeah, I think there's some comics that still try to be smart with the language, like like Seinfeld, even though he I wouldn't consider him a newer comic now, but he still thinks about the
we're
language of
on a cab, but we're in a cab.
yeah, so he's still kind of playing off of that, but and he's still relevant to some degree today. But I do think when you look at the newer crop of comics that are coming up, like you said, like what's his name, Mark, you just said him earlier, Mark Normand. Mark Normand seems like he comes from that lineage of joke writing similar to Seinfeld, and I think that he's got that writing style, and thinks about the words. I think he's more of a writer, where a lot of comedians now are groomed for conversation, and they hear about other comics that go up cold. Oh, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about yet, and they think they can do that, but
they're not doing. Even they're not doing that.
Out of the gate now, sex is much kinkier, I think, as a porn. Out of the gate now, it's like choking, spitting, finger up the butt, which is weird because these are all things my older brother did to torment me.
Did you give all your 5?
I have one more.
All right.
I don't know what it is. It's a tie. It's a tie between Joe List, Are You Mad at Me, and Mark Normand, Don't Be Yourself.
Both brilliant comics, both New York guys.
I think they get lumped together because of Tuesdays with Stories, and then also I lump them together because I see them all the time together. Like they're always back to back at the Stand, or back to back at New York Comedy Club, or back to back.
Them and Sam Morril.
Sam Morrill's another guy, right in the same boat with those guys. I mean, Dan Soder you could put in there with those guys.
These are the future stars. These are the guys
Eric
that
Olamash, Adrian Appalucci, Sean Donnelly, all these guys. Just the same crew. It's a huge crew. They're all super talented.
This is a pack of comics that are going to be the guys very soon. These are going to be our future stars. And I do believe at this point in time, Mark Normand is the lead.
Top first.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Soder popped also.
Soder popped, but I think that Mark Normand has more appeal to cross over. I think because he also has the voice. He has a uniqueness about him too. He's he has like a delivery.
There's more comedy there. Dan Soder's genius. I'm not taking anything away from it, but he's also like an actor and podcaster and does all these things. Whereas Mark Normand's like, I write and tell jokes. That's what I do. I write and tell jokes.
Right. Yeah. Mark Normand, to me, is definitely a classic styled stand-up.
It's just white people. We're nervous. We don't know what to say. We're scared. We don't want to get fired. We don't want to offend. You could corner a white guy on the sidewalk now with a microphone and a video camera, like, what color is Ray Charles? He'd be like, he's blind.
And Joe too. Like that's why, I feel like they're very close. I feel like they're similar writers. They're similar.
If you tell people you nap, they think that you're lazy. If you tell people you meditate, they think that you're better than them. It's kind of nice, you know. I also replaced the term masturbate with the term my stretches. That's another thing that you guys can do.
What I like about Joe is he carries the torch for, even though he doesn't play it that way, but his appearance, he kind of plays that kind of the nerdy comic, brings that kind of back again, in a way. He, like I said, he doesn't play it that way on stage, but I think first impression, when he first
fights it.
Yeah.
He wants to be tells people he's a jock. And
I talked to my mother. She's like, what'd you do today, Joe? I'm like, I woke up pretty early, did my stretches, got the blood flowing. Then I ate a light breakfast, and I meditated for about 2.5 hours. And I woke up, stretched again, meditated for another half an hour. It was a big day.
Here's my final one. And again, going to the well of classics for me. And this one is legendary. Another one did not age well through time, but for certain reasons. But Eddie Murphy, Delirious. But Delirious, to me,
great.
It also, you know, it was very influential on me as a kid. I learned the whole record, and you know, Goonie Goo Goo, and you know, the mother with the shoe, and she's a Bigfoot, Gus. I know she's a Bigfoot. That kind of stuff still holds up to this day. I think that was the
Oh
one.
Lord Jesus! Oh Lord Jesus! Jesus. Oh Lord Jesus!
Oh Lord Jesus! Oh Lord Jesus! That one is packed with memorable bits. To me,
And like, way can't tell those jokes.
no, there's so many of them you can't tell anymore.
No, that you know, that I know.
Norton, my friend, how would you like to fuck me up the ass?
It was homophobic AIDS jokes in there, like
Oh
AIDS.
my God.
But I can't have AIDS. I'm not a homosexual.
AIDS? I'm not a homosexual. Sure, you're not a homosexual.
All those types of lines in there. But, you know, to me, Eddie Murphy made comedy cool. He made it, you know, he was like one of the first kind of heartthrobby comedians that come out. Was, you know, leather outfit and shit. And, you know, he was the comic that all the guys wanted to be and all the girls wanted to fuck. And
These the fuck years for me. Like I'm 20. I'm in my sexual prime. I fuck now. These are the years to fuck.
But yeah, that's why I love Eddie Murphy Delirious. Like I said, it didn't age well. It's like one of those records that when I was a kid, I had to watch it and listen to it in secret, so my parents wouldn't hear me listen to it. And then now I gotta again listen to it in secret, so society won't cancel me for listening to it.
I think you'll be all right. I think you're all right. I think we're allowed to listen to it.
I'm afraid of gay people. Petrified. I have nightmares about gay people. I have this nightmare that I go to Hollywood and find out that Mr. T is a faggot.
I hear their side.
I get it too, and it's funny how like I think about things like nowadays. Before I say something, I think about it, right, in a way that I never did before.
Which is great.
I think so too.
Which is fantastic. And like sorry to cut you off.
No, it's cool.
I do this. I'm pretty good at that. The whole yeah, if someone doesn't want to be called something, yeah, don't call them that. How hard? I'm a comedian. I'm supposed to make you laugh and have fun. If you're insulted the whole time, if I'm hurting your feelings, I'm not doing my job.
Right.
I'm not being policed. No one. I'm not canceling a nobody. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I don't want to hurt you. Like, if you don't want to be called that, I'm gonna avoid that word.
Right.
It's not hard. Like, the idea that it's like, oh, well, then what's next? I don't know. We'll worry about what's next when what's next is next. I don't know.
Well, that's why I do think too.
When we get there, you're worried about it now.
I think now we're chiseling away. You know, the culture is chiseling away at all the things that were perhaps, you know, tilted a certain way. And I'm hoping that once we finally bottom out and everyone is satisfied, the comedians can then do their jobs again, which is start crossing the lines. And do I think we'll ever see another Dice Clay or another Dice Man Cometh? Do I think we'll ever see another Delirious? Probably not. But I'm hoping that comedy is not Hannah Gatsby.
No one ever really talked about the lesbians. Do you know? Like, it's all the gay men. They're the problem. Anal sex, that's when the devil will get you.
I'll be leaving for tour very soon after that.
All right, very cool.
The 21st.
April 21st?
So look for me on tour, April through May 10th, 11th. Look for me on tour.
Excellent. Well, let's tie up this top 10, top 5 list here. We have
because stand-up's never coming back.
Nate Bargatze. We got Dice Clay, the Dice Man Cometh, Sarah Silverman, Speck of Dust, Bill Cosby himself, Michael Che Matters, Andrew Schultz, 551. Then we got
is 551? I think 551 is the album, and 441 is the YouTube special.
441. So Andrew Schultz.
441. Yeah, and then 551 is the on Spotify is the album.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Andrew Schultz, 441. Then we got Mark Normand with his special, and then George Carlin again. So, what are you thinking, man? How do we mix this up? So, of your top 5, so I'll give you Are there any of my 5 that you think need to be on this list? So
Need to or need not to?
Or which ones do you want to see on the list? So if you had to pick, so I got on my list, I had Andrew Dice Clay, the Dice Man Cometh. I had Eddie Murphy Delirious. I had Bill Cosby himself.
I feel like they're 2 different lists. I feel like one is a classics list, and one is a.
Well, that's what I like about this mix. I think that if we narrow it down, so like, because for me, I think I'm with you on 441 Andrew Shultz, and definitely with you with Mark Normand. I would like to see both of those guys on the list, and Michael Che matters. Sarah, so these are all great. So this is when it gets tough if we're gonna combine our list into 5.
Yours is Dice, Eddie, Bill Cosby, Carlin,
and Steve Martin. Mine's all like this legends. Yeah.
All right. So let's go. Let's go Nate 5.
Gotcha. Nate at 5. Nate Bargatze.
I'm gonna drop Cosby to 4 because he's a rapist. We're gonna put Sarah 3 because that would like stick a craw in Cosby's hat.
Now's when it gets tough.
Murphy, Carlin 1.
There you go. I definitely agree.
I bumped Martin and I bumped Dice.
And that makes sense in this list, you know, and I'm looking too, because for me, so you would take Nate Bargatze, and I love all of these guys, but over Mark Normand at this point?
At this very moment.
All right, I'm just kind of looking it over, seeing, cause I do agree with
Mark Normand special is unbelievable. It's very good. The Don't Be Yourself is very good.
Yeah, these are all great. How about Andrew Schultz over?
You know, it's really great.
All right, I agree with this list.
You know, so like, if the whole Andrew Schultz special was the caliber of that Egyptian pyramid joke,
right,
then I think it goes up higher.
Right, yeah, because for me, I'm more going on Schultz as a whole, and I'm not basing it solely on the special. Good point. All right, so we got Nate Bargatze, Bill Cosby himself, Sarah Silverman, Speck of Dust, Eddie Murphy Delirious, and George Carlin again. That's our top 5.
I could probably switch Eddie and Sarah too. But I love that Sarah Silverman special, man. I love it.
It's a classic. It's another great special, and also I will say too, looking at our list, it meets the standards. It's very diverse.
Yeah, it meets the standards, dude. Like I've never even thought about. I never think about that at all. Like,
yeah.
Like it just like good is good. What are you doing?
Well, there you have it, folks. There's our top 5 greatest comedy specials of all time. Please let us know what you think in the comments below, and if we missed anything or what your thoughts were. We always want to hear it. So please remember to subscribe, like, and comment, and all that good stuff. And we will see you next week.